Tijuana, where Mexico meets California, the front line of the war on drugs. Competition in one of Mexico's most lucrative markets has made Tijuana one of the most dangerous cities in the world, averaging 6 murders a day. But amid the rampant killing, survivors remain. Children, sons and daughters of the victims, orphaned by the bloodshed, left to fend for themselves. And unless great care is taken, Tijuana's next generation of organised crime. A city built at Mexico's border with the US, Tijuana is the gateway to Baja California, a popular getaway for American tourists. But the border city is also a vital territory for organised crime. It's resulted in an era of violence which Professor Victor Clark has studied.
We have lived about 25 years already with violence in our city. So it means that already a generation, they born with violence and now they are adults, in their 20s, 25, close to 30, and they have lived with this violence in our city.
In 2018, Tijuana saw 2,504 murders, the world's 5th most dangerous city. 2 cartels, the Sinaloa and New Generation organizations, are battling for control of the city's lucrative narcotics market.
Tijuana has a population of 1.6 million inhabitants. There are more than 200,000 drug addicts, but the figure probably is bigger than that.
Jose Luis Perez was a Baja California state attorney in the late 90s. He saw firsthand the effects of the war on drugs on his hometown.
A partir de la declaración de guerra en contra del narcotráfico con Calderon, en estos 12 años, gobierno de Calderón, gobierno de Peña Nieto, el número de ejecutados reconocido es de un poco más de 245,000. Se estima que una parte de estos dejaron hijos, hijas, niños, niñas huérfanos. Varía la cifra según la fuente, pero se habla de 30,000 a 50,000 huérfanos por el narco, huérfanos de padres ejecutados.
Jose Luis is keeping a close eye on these children. He says if great care is not taken, they will come to represent a serious threat to Tijuana.
Es distinto un niño huérfano que ve a su madre morir por una enfermedad a un niño huérfano de un padre que desaparece o que a veces lo ejecutan delante de él. Hay niños que ven cómo ejecutan a sus padres, que son niños que crecen con odio, con coraje por el padre desaparecido, ejecutado, y sentimientos de venganza. Esos niños, si no se les atiende psicológicamente con programas específicos, terminan siendo parte de las pandillas, de la violencia, de las drogas, y entonces la situación de conflicto se reproduce, se pasa de una generación a otra.
Organized crime, ever inventive, has realized such children are both useful and easily expendable instruments for their activities. It's a situation that seems doomed to repeat itself.
What happened is that the organized crime have found in all this population the cheap reserve force for their activities. So who matters or who cares if today 10 or 8 people are going to be murdered, especially the great majority, young people, people unknown by society. So who cares today if those people are going to be killed? Nobody knows them.
For the children who end up in state care, it's a tough life. Baja California has 2 facilities caring for more than 400 children. Victor Manuel Flores is the state's childcare chief.
Los niños y adolescentes son sujetos de derechos, son personas son seres humanos que se les debe proteger y garantizar esos derechos humanos.
¿Sí llegan aquí huérfanos?
Sí, claro que sí, niños que son abandonados, niños huérfanos, como yo no diría la palabra técnicamente huérfanos.
¿Y por qué no usaría la palabra huérfano?
Huérfano en tanto que considero que son los factores por los cuales un niño puede ser pues abandonado.
¿Un huérfano
Sí.
es un niño que no tiene papás?
Sí, un niño que no tiene papás, que puede ser por muchos factores. Pues, fallecen, desaparecen, se olvidan de ellos, los abandonan. Sí.
And
that's all the government's childcare chief had to say about the issue. In these state facilities, babies arrive at just a few days old and will spend their first 3 years of life on the same ward. Children abandoned to the state grow up in juvenile detention centres, never permitted beyond the metal bars of their home. Once they come of age, they are released into a world for which they are ill prepared. El Ivan, a former gangster in the Sinaloa cartel, was sucked into crime at a young age.
Pues está muy complicado. En la actualidad lo que a mí me alcanzó a tocar vivir ya hace años atrás es que van utilizando a los jóvenes para que puedan ir delinquiendo como características de su edad, de adolescentes, de que les hace falta madurar.
El Ivan began as a lookout for the cartel at age 15.
Son promedio, algunos empiezan más jóvenes, pues es como algunos empiezan desde los 12 años, 13 años. Pues la mayoría vienen de familias disfuncionales, papás separados, no hay una atención, papás que consumen o papás que también están involucrados de alguna otra manera o estuvieron involucrados en ese tipo de vida.
He soon graduated to selling cocaine for the cartel.
Llegó el tiempo, era tan fuerte mi adicción que terminé yo consumiéndome lo que tenía para vender. Y eso es algo difícil porque te metes en muchísimos problemas, tienes que estarte escondiendo, tienes que estar, expones a tu familia obviamente a que los maten, a que te amenacen, a que te amenacen a ti, no puedes estar bien en las calles, es algo pues horrible, se podría llamar en esa palabra, es algo espantoso tener que andar escondiéndote.
After years, stints in prison and attempts on his life, he managed to escape. Yet he says many of the people he knew haven't been so lucky.
Me tocó ver muchos jóvenes que fueron asesinados porque cayeron en búsqueda de todo eso. Pues sí, al principio es muy bonito, es como una luna de miel, tienes todo, tienes el apoyo, sientes que cuentas con mucha gente, que mucha gente te respalda, pero también llega el momento en que ya no pueden seguirte dejando vivo y te tienen que asesinar. O sea, es una realidad dura, es una realidad fuerte. Así es solamente un instrumento. O sea, te necesito que me sirvas por un determinado tiempo, 2 meses, 3 meses, te doy todo, pero después o te pongo en las manos de la justicia o te pongo en el panteón, porque no es recomendado, no es bueno para ellos tenerte vivo con información de sus cosas, ¿no?
The statistics back El Ivan's experience up.
The life expectancy of juveniles involved in organized crime is of 5 years. We have to remember that we have a new generation of drug traffickers compared to the first that arose on the 90s, but these are more brutal than the first one. More brutal, They are invisible in our society. 2,502 murders last year gives you an idea of what it is, the level of violence in trying to compete and to have control of this huge market.
While at-risk youth might be placed in foster programs elsewhere, Tijuana's government has neither the money nor the inclination to expand programs that could change the course of these young people's lives.
No way.
Roberto QUIJANO is a Tijuana councilman.
Very, very little interest, no money invested in these places. I mean, basically, from the standpoint of the authority, there's very little interest taking care of these young men. They've been focusing more young adults that are committing major crimes, and they're putting them into jail, and that's a change.
Asked whether these children will come to represent a problem for Tijuana in 20 years, his answer was definitive.
Well, not really 10, 20 years, it's happening right now. Most of them are in jail already, but if you go and check their backgrounds, same profile, I mean, poorly educated and with no opportunity to have a nice job. So it is normal, or it's understandable that they went into criminal actions.
In the end, the future of Tijuana's next generation of gangsters may end up being decided by today's political tug-of-war.
There's a tendency of trying to spend the money in some other ways. They're only administrating the problem, so the next mayor will face probably a worse situation.
With those in charge failing to take definitive action, few hold out hope for any definitive change. But there are those who are pushing against the tide. For José Luis, a census that gauges the scale of the problem is the first step.
Lo primero que hay que hacer para tener una idea de la dimensión del problema. Lo importante es iniciar un procedimiento de atención social, psicológica, educativa, acompañamiento a estos niños, porque si no van a ser parte de la violencia, tarde o temprano, sí, seguramente.
Others see a change in values in Mexican society as the key to a better future.
When this generation see the style of life of those drug traffickers, including in our city, and with not many opportunities to have a social upper mobility because their conditions, their social conditions, obviously they have this ideal to become like them. They involve in those activities. If you don't have plenty of jobs, education, job opportunities, education opportunities, health opportunities, you battle that culture with opportunities.
As Mexico's marginalized next generation marvels at cartel riches and witnesses the thoughtless violence it takes to earn them, bringing new opportunities to the next generation may bring Mexico back from the brink.